Hello everybody, and welcome to another War of the Spark draft here on the channel. Today we are going to be playing a ranked draft, which means it is best of one gameplay. But before I dive in, I do want to remind you that if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me out a ton, and I truly appreciate each and everyone who does that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to get updates whenever I post new content and to join the community. It really does help me out a ton. And finally, if you have any questions or comments about the draft or the gameplay, be sure to leave those in the comment section down below. And as an additional thing, let me know what you think of ranked drafts versus traditional best of 3 drafts. I really do value your feedback in this matter. Yeah, they both have pros and cons for sure. But let's dive in here to the draft, keeping in mind that we will not need to be valuing sideboard cards as heavily and things of that nature. So our rare here is Living Twister. Living Twister is a very powerful card. The ability to use your lands as like a great mana sink, like 3 mana, deal 2 damage to anything once your lands are irrelevant, is incredible. And a 3 mana 2/5 is a pretty big body. It is hard to cast, but that is the nature of powerful rares sometimes. So I think Living Twister is quite nice. As I've talked about before, Bond of Passion is actually a little bit better than people are giving it credit for. That being said, I'm not going to take it super highly. I think that it's not a card you need to prioritize for sure. You only really want one type of you only really want one copy of this type of effect, and even if you don't get it, it's not a huge deal. Tybalt's Rager is a very nice 2-drop. The ability to pump itself is good, and the 1 damage can actually be quite relevant. The best common in this pack is Obnixilus's Cruelty, and I think it really is competing with Living Twister. Living Twister, of course, is more powerful than Obnixilus's Cruelty, but Obnixilus's Cruelty is more likely to make my deck. I think Obnixilus's Cruelty is better than both Bond of Passion and Tybalt's Rager, just because 3 mana, kill basically anything, is just incredible. And it is a very flexible card. It can even be splashed in certain scenarios. I'm not sure whether I prefer it over the Living Twister. There's some argument to taking a like trying to play a more controlling deck in best of 1, because then you have more time to like leverage your cards, and it's less like you in a best of 1 game. I think if you have an aggressive strategy and you just have a bad opening hand, you just lose. Whereas if you have a controlling deck, you can just kind of come back. Though that's not insanely relevant. Yikes. I think we're just going to take the Cruelty here. It's more flexible, more likely to make my deck, and overall a card that I'm pretty happy to have. And then we can follow that up with a nice Law-Rune Enforcer. This is a very good common, better than a lot of almost any other white common. I think it's close with the Trusted Pegasus or whatever it's called. The best blue cards in the pack are Callous Dismissal and Erratic Visionary, though I think I would take Callous Dismissal and then Tamiyo's Epiphany and then Erratic Visionary. Actually, maybe I take the Epiphany first. It's actually really close. These blue cards are quite nice. They just aren't as good as Law-Rune Enforcer, though. Law-Rune Enforcer is a very good removal spell that can also chip in on blocks sometimes, pressure Planeswalkers occasionally, just a very good card. Sunblade Angel is fine, but it's very expensive. You don't really need to prioritize expensive cards, especially since it does die to most of the removal in the set. So here we are, just going to take the Law-Rune Enforcer here, though there are several good blue cards, so we'll keep that in mind. And now we see an Elite Guard Mage. Elite Guard Mage is quite nice. It segues nicely with this Law-Rune Enforcer that we just picked up, and potentially could put us into an Esper color combination. There's also a Spark Harvest, which is a very solid common. It goes with the Obnixilus's Cruelty that we already have, just a very strong removal spell. And then there's an Ajani's Primate, which isn't as good in this set as it would normally be, though it does work cool, like nicely with Elite Guard Mage. Other than that, there's not really anything to consider in this pack, so I think it's between Spark Harvest and Elite Guard Mage. And I think we're just going to take the Spark Harvest because it is important to stay flexible early. We could just be a white-black deck. We don't necessarily even want to be playing blue, so we will just take the Spark Harvest here and then see where it takes us. Okay, so in this pack, the immediate commons that jump out to me are Enforcer Griffin. Flyers are just very good in this set, and Enforcer Griffin is the biggest bun, so it's going to be able to attack through a lot of things in the air. It's kind of hard to kill. It doesn't die like Jaya's Greeting and things like that. So I think Enforcer Griffin is quite a nice card to have at least one copy of. Aid the Fallen is not a card you really need to prioritize. You can usually get a copy. I think Cruel Celebrant is quite poor. Not really a card you want to play in limited, just because a 2-mana 1/2 that's hard to cast isn't very good. Bolt Bend I actually haven't played yet, but I don't think it's like super good. Really not something you should prioritize, and overall something I'm fine avoiding. It's a very risky effect, because if your opponent doesn't target one of your creatures, you have a dead card, and you kind of have to hold up 4 mana to use it, so not a card I'm a big fan of. And then Dovin's Veto is, I think, a main deckable card in this format, because there's so many Planeswalkers running around that your opponent's always going to have good non-creatures, but not a card I'm going to take me out of my 2 main colors here. And now we can follow that up with another Enforcer Griffin, or we could take a Lazotep Reaver. I'm actually a little bit down on Lazotep Reaver compared to where I was a little bit before. Lazotep Reaver is an incredible 2-drop, and you need incredible 2-drops. That being said, it doesn't really help you push through anything. It just kind of helps you gum up the ground. So if I didn't already have an Enforcer Griffin, I think I might just take the Enforcer Griffin so I can have a big flyer. That being said, 5-drops have limited returns. You don't want to just take too many Enforcer Griffins early, because then if you see powerful, expensive cards later, you can't like take them as easy. And Lazotep Reaver is still a phenomenal 2-drop, so we are going to take that. And it looks like we're pretty firmly in white-black. There's not really any good cards in the other colors. Bond of Flourishing is okay if you have a permanent that's super good, like a Liliana in your deck, that you really want to find as fast as possible, but other than that, not super playable. Lazotep Reaver is going to be the pick here. And, okay, one thing I do want to say, I think Giant Growth, there's got to be a deck that utilizes Giant Growth, like some sort of aggressive deck, because this is like the best combat trick of all time, and it's just not in a deck, really. I constantly have green decks that don't want this, so I think there's going to be a green strategy that uses Giant Growth effectively. That being said, in this pack, the white and black cards, the cards are Makeshift Battalion and Tidebearer Giant pretty much. We don't really need a Prismite in this deck. It's just not a very good 2-drop in a lot of scenarios, because if you're not splashing, it's just horrific. So between Makeshift Battalion and Tidebearer Giant is one of those expensive cards that has diminishing returns that I already mentioned, with like Enforcer Griffin. It does get you a tiny bit of value, and it's bigger than a lot of the other creatures, but it's not a card I'm super high on. And I think I will just take Makeshift Battalion. It works really nicely with Lazotep Reaver because that gives you the 2 creatures you need. So I'm just going to take this 3/2. And you just need to have some creatures that can attack and stuff like that. And now, okay, we can take a Spark Reaper, which works well with Lazotep Reaver as well. We could take a Battlefield Promotion, though I'd much rather just get a creature that can attack, block, do all sorts of things that I need, rather than a combat trick at this point, because my deck doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive. It can just be a mid-range deck. Most limited decks tend to be mid-range decks, but I'd rather take good creatures early, because you just need to make sure you have enough good creatures, and having 1 copy of Spark Reaper gives your deck a lot of utility, because you can just have like Planeswalkers that like die and like get to low loyalty that you can sacrifice, and all sorts of good stuff. So here we're just gonna take a good 2-drop. It doesn't really have a ton of synergy with the stuff I have, but it's just a fine 2-drop, and it's better to take this than another medium 3-drop. 3-drops are just way easier to come by than 2-drops, and Martyr for the Cause is a pretty solid 2-drop, especially if you can build around it a little bit. Guild Globe I do like, but I don't really have a reason to splash right now, and I'd rather, and especially in best of 1 where mana problems just lose you the game instantly, I'd rather not play a risky deck mana-wise. Okie doke, and here we can just take, I don't really want to take Huatli. Huatli's pretty horrific. The time I have played it, it was garbage, so we're just going to take a Prismite in case we end up wanting to splash something super powerful. And now Lazotep Behemoth. This is just a fine 5-drop. It's a big creature, a big body, and can get the job done. Saheeli Silverwing. I'm fine playing this. Flyers are just generally good in this format, and Silverwing is a fine addition. And before taking the second Lazotep Behemoth, we will just take the first Aid the Fallen. We have a lot of creatures. If we don't get any Planeswalkers, we of course will not play that. And Banehound is the last card. Okie doke. Chandra is a nice rare, but it's not even close to my colors, so we can't take that. Instead, we will just be taking Wanderer's Strike as a premium removal spell. Again, that's why you don't want to load up on 5-drops too much, because now you see I have this 5-drop, I got this 5-drop, I've got Spark Harvest, which is a 5-drop. So we're just going to end up taking another 5-drop, this Wanderer's Strike, and we kind of wanted to get a couple things that work with counters now, because we do have a couple things to carry, like Martyr for the Cause. If Sorin's Thirst Wield, I think I would play that in best of 1 just because it's so good against aggro decks. But yeah, it's just like you win the game against an aggro deck if you play it. But we'll just take the Wanderer's Strike here. Wow, Time Wipe is actually really, really good. I think this is going to be one of those cards that is actually worth splashing. Even though like it's just so powerful. Return a creature you control and then destroy all creatures. So you just get a lot of value out of Time Wipe. And it's definitely a card I want to take. The only other card in this pack that's like fine is like Sorin's Thirst probably. So we're just going to take the high upside pick and then look to splash blue. So we already have a Prismite that can help. And we'll just look for other ways to splash, like a Mana Geode and things like that. I think it's called Mana Geode, the 3-mana Mana Rock. But Time Wipe is definitely a very powerful card, and a card that we're going to be looking to play here. And if we're already splashing blue, we could consider Kazumina. That being said, we don't want to get too reliant on the splash, so I think we will just take the very powerful removal spell that also works with any proliferate synergies we can get later. We don't want to go too all in on a splash, especially because it might not even happen because we don't have any fixing currently and we are in pack 2. So I think we will just take the Wanderer's Strike here. And now, this is actually, I think we are going to take the Guild Globe because we want to be able to splash the Time Wipe, and Guild Globe is one of the best ways to do that, especially when you're not in green. Again, we're not taking any other blue cards other than Time Wipe unless we see something truly good. Another reason, like Guild Globe, if we had taken a Casmina, the Guild Globe's not as good at fixing for 2 blue cards. We don't really need to take another Martyr for the Cause right now. We have 2 2-drops already, 3 2-drops if you include the Prismite. Teo's Light Shield would be fine with all this proliferate that we have going on. 2 Wanderer Strikes does make me want a card like Teo's Light Shield, but again, we just have to take the Guild Globe so we can play our more powerful card. Okie doke. Iron Bully is actually going to be great in this deck. It works really nicely with... it's a nice card to work with Spark Harvest because you can sacrifice it. You can sacrifice it with Spark Reaper, and it puts counters on to work with all of our proliferate. I think Iron Bully is actually going to be a great fit in this deck. Charity Extractor is a card that I want to talk about a tiny bit. I think that this card is playable if you have ways to put counters on it, because a 1/5 for 4 mana is not good. But if you make it into a 3/6 or 2/5 or 2/6, if you make it into a 2/6, it's actually like quite potent as a creature, because like Lifelink gets much better when you have more power on your creature. We don't really need these 2-drops. Vampire Opportunist is okay, but it's not like a card I'm super happy to play. And overall, I'd much rather just take the Iron Bully here. It's just higher upside, and I think it's going to work well in this deck. Okay, so here we can take a Toll of the Invasion. I like having access to this card in best of 1 game because it means you can take their bomb rare even if you don't know what it is. It also lets you make a plan so that you can like plan out when you're going to use your Time Wipe and things like that, and it lets you proliferate onto it. So that is just a nice card overall. Vraska's Finisher is a pretty good card as well, but you kind of need to be aggressive deck attacking to make Vraska's Finisher good. I'm not the hugest fan of Pouncing Links. If you're like actually trying to be an aggressive deck, Pouncing Links, you just need 2-drops, but there's a decent number of 1/3s like Burning Prophet, Erratic Visionary, and they really punish cards like Pouncing Links. So we're just going to take the Toll of the Invasion. And now another Guild Globe. Pretty easy pick. Nothing else in this pack is in my colors. Kaya's Ghost Form is not a card I'm happy to play. I think this card is quite poor, just because if they play instant speed removal in response to it, you just get kind of wrecked. And overall, it's just not really worth it. There's like Callous Dismissal, and yeah, not a card I'm a super big fan of. But the Guild Globe works really nicely with splashing this Time Wipe. And now we will take Charity Extractor over Gideon's Sacrifice. I haven't actually seen Gideon's Sacrifice do good work. I think the card is it's just a weird card, so maybe just nobody plays it, but it doesn't strike me as a very good card. But we're just going to take the Charity Extractor. Probably not play it, though. Bulwark Giant is actually interesting here, because Bulwark Giant is one of those cards that if you play it against a deck that's trying to be aggressive, it just wins you the game on the spot, which is just kind of a nice place to be in a best of 1 setting where you'll play against aggro like maybe half the time, I guess, or like a third of the time in this set, but still an I win button is kind of nice. And we don't really need another Silverwing, so I think we'll just take the Bulwark Giant. And now Teo's Light Shield, actually a good card in this deck, works well. Like you can sacrifice the 0/3 body to a variety of our sacrifice effects. We have a couple of those, and then the counter works really nicely with some of our cards. Another Martyr for the Cause, a good 2-drop to pick up, and another Teo's Light Shield. I'm liking the way this deck is looking, and it's pretty solid so far. Another Giant. We might probably only play 1 though. Wow, this is the ultimate test. Do we play the Elder Spell in a best of 1 setting? I don't think so. Because there's the Spark Harvest in this pack, and Spark Harvest is just so good because it can kill creatures or Planeswalkers, and Elder Spell is just so much less reliable. We don't even have Planeswalker of our own here. But yeah, we're just going to take Spark Harvest. War Screecher's fine. Price of Betrayal is like a worse version of the Elder Spell. And Toll of the Invasion, you don't really want too many copies of, because eventually you're going to be in top deck mode, and then it's just horrific. But we're just going to take the Spark Harvest here. Wow, Feather the Redeemed. This is a nice card, but not one we can take here. The only card we can really choose between is like Iron Bully or Charity Extractor, so this pack is really bad for us. But that being said, we already have 26 cards in this little pool over here, so we have a lot of good things to choose from. I think we will take the Iron Bully. Works nicely with our Proliferate engines, and yeah, we aren't splashing any of these. Wow, this pack has not gone well so far. I guess we could take a Martyr for the Cause if we really need another 2-drop. There's really nothing else for us. I guess we're going to take it. We don't really need a Jace's Triumph because we're not splashing it after all. I mean, we'll just take the Martyr for the Cause. And Spark Harvest number 3. Let's go. I think Spark Harvest is great, and we have a decent number of creatures to sacrifice thanks to these Teo's Light Shields and Iron Bullies that we may or may not run. Getting another Spark Reaper would actually be fine, but clearly just taking the Spark Harvest here. And another Enforcer Griffin is great. This is the card that can actually win us the game once we've gotten to a Good point. I don't think Shadow Fugue is good, especially best of one. You sometimes side it in against super controlling decks that have a lot of card draw, but it's just a very slow card, and I'm not a fan of it overall. And now we can choose between Enforcer Griffin number 3 or Wanderer Strike number 3. Let's see. We already have 3 Spark Harvests and 2 Wanderer Strikes. So I think the Enforcer Griffin might just be better so we have a win condition that's more reliable. Because we don't have Planeswalkers to win the game. We kind of just have to rely on our Enforcer Griffins, I think. It is just a big creature. I don't think we need more 3-drops, that's for sure. Yeah, I think we don't need another 5-mana removal spell. We'll just take the Enforcer Griffin. And now a Lazotep Reaver. It does work nicely with the counter sub-theme, and it works good with this Makeshift Battalion, and it gives us sacrifice fodder for our 3 Spark Harvests, and overall it's just going to be a good card in this deck. And getting a Horizon Populace is actually going to be a fine addition to this. I'm pretty happy to see that, actually. It works with our counters theme and just is a good card. War Screecher's a 2-drop I'm happy to play. Another Charity Extractor. Actually, we're going to play the first copy, I think, because we do have a lot of cards it works with. I guess we'll take the Duskmantle Operative. Now we'll just take the uncommon for the rarity selection. And now I just have to build the deck. So, keep in mind that we're not playing any islands, I don't think. I think we're going to splash this off of 2 copies of Guild Globe and a Prismite. It might be ambitious, but, you know. Actually, we can play 1 island. You generally want 3.5 sources or 2.5 sources, so we can run 8/8/1. And we might run more lands, you never know. It depends on how well we think we have mana sinks. We aren't running Aid the Fallen without any Planeswalkers. Okay, let's just see. So we probably don't want all these Martyr for the Causes. They're just 2-mana 2/2s in a lot of cases. I have not found the card to be incredible or anything. We just have better 2-drops. We have these 3, and we're playing the Prismite, so that's 4 2-drops, and we have a couple Guild Globes. Makeshift Battalion is fine with Lazotep Reaver, but it's an aggressive card in our deck's more of a defensive option. But the Teo's Light Shield and Iron Bully, we do not want 4 copies of these. I think we're going to cut the Teo's Light Shields. I think Iron Bully is going to be a little bit better because it does have power to trade with things. Makeshift Battalion. Do we even want that? Since we're cutting all these Light Shields, do we want to keep the Charity Extractor in? Probably not. Charity Extractor is probably not good enough. Don't need Lazotep Behemoth. Probably only want 1 Bulwark Giant. We're going to win the game with Enforcer Griffin. We don't need a Healy Silverwing. We have 3 Enforcer Griffins, which is just a bigger version. We don't have a single 4-drop, do we? No, we do not. So maybe that means we do want Healy Silverwing. I think our 3-drops are just a little bit better than it. Then we can cut an Iron Bully. Let's cut Makeshift Battalion for Iron Bully. That's just better synergy with our Wanderer Strikes. I don't think we want to cut an Enforcer Griffin for a Silverwing. Yeah, I think this is going to be fine. Let's double check the color requirements. Yeah, pretty even on the white-black split. Yeah, let's run it like this and see how it goes. We don't have any Planeswalkers, which could be a little bit of an edge in this type of format where the opponent might main deck Planeswalker hate. But yeah, generally best of 1 standard is kind of sketchy. Oh, I forgot to give my... Yeah, never mind. We're going to keep this hand. We have a nice little curve out here. 2-drop into 3-drop into 2-drop, 2-drop maybe. We're definitely leading with the War Screecher. Prismite could be valuable later for splashing, and also just a 2/1 is not going to get through any damage in this type of format. And it's not as good to put a counter on as the War Screecher will be. Let's put the counter on the War Screecher. And if he uses a removal on this, it means he doesn't have removal for the Enforcer Griffin. No blocks. Oh, this is going swimmingly. We will probably trade the Prismite off. But yeah, these Enforcer Griffins are going to do work. We'll trade it with the Duskmantle Operative. We have a couple turns to find black mana if we do draw a black spell, because we are just going to be playing these Enforcer Griffins for the next couple turns. We don't want my opponent to be able to race, so we will block. Yep, Law Reinforcer, sure. Okay, we are just going to kill the Law Reinforcer now, I think. Because that means he doesn't get to stop my War Screecher anytime soon. Ouch. That's an ouchie moment. Well, he was going to kill my Enforcer Griffins either way, I guess. Rats. Wow, my opponent did nothing that turn? No blocks. We're winning the race here. If we draw land, we can play both these. I think he has Sorin's Thirst, because that would kind of make sense for this attack. He left it on top, okay. Or he could have Sorin's Thirst. Okay, Swamp was actually a good draw. So we'll play both of our guys. Do we want to block? Probably not. No block. Okay, Opportunist is okay. Whew. We're not going to attack with this because we're going to tap here and make it so he can't attack with that. Wow, these Enforcer Griffins are going to do work. Okay, now we can. He can't attack with the Opportunist, and he can't act. He doesn't have the mana to activate it right now. Whoa. Wow, that is not a useful draw right now, but so he's going to go up to 10, so we want to use this. Because now sending him to 7 is... Now he goes to 2 life. We definitely don't want to use our Time Wipe right now. Sure. Because now these things are lethal on their own. Hello everybody, sorry about that. I had a beloved neighbor come to visit, so that's why I stopped in the end of that game. It basically just went about as you expected. I attacked him the next turn, he died. But yeah, that was a little bit of an interruption, but now we're back. We got that victory, and let's see if we can keep the victories flowing. Yeah, that was definitely cool. We had a nice conversation. My neighbor, he owns a cattle ranch and all sorts of good stuff. He's a very cool guy. Okie doke. This hand is excellent. We have our 2-drop to gum up the board, and then our flyer to fly over, Bulwark Giant to stabilize us, and a removal spell. Definitely a keeper here. If we had a Sorin's Thirst, I would say we'd have to play the Swamp on turn 1, but it really doesn't matter. A land is a fine draw. That's a good place to be, where lands are good draws and spells are good draws. And now we have our island, so we can cast every spell in our deck. I think we are going to play this island just to keep my opponent off of, like, unsure what colors I'm playing exactly. The Grizzly. We are going to kill it because it will represent a decent amount of value, and we want to make sure we use our mana. And we get through a bit of damage, which isn't irrelevant, especially when this is a multiple of 3. Enforcer Griffin, this is only 6 attacks to kill it now. Okay. We are going to want to kill that as soon as we can. No attacks, though. Proliferate onto my token, opponent. Do it. Be a pal. Depending on what my opponent plays this turn, it might be best to play the Wanderer Strike just to finish it off. Otherwise, we are just going to play the Griffin. Okay. That is fine. We are just going to lead with the Griffin then. Might just kill the Rising Populace instead of the Reclamation Sage. Sage is a scary card, though. So... Pollen Bright Druid, okay. I think we are just going to kill this thing and then hit him in the air for a couple turns. No, we don't want to let him trade on the ground because that would just grow this thing. He also is missing on land drop, so Pollen Bright Druid's not as scary. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to hit another 12, then we're going to have 2 flyers in the air and have him on a 2-turn clock. So now we have him on a 3-turn clock, and he might just not have a lot of flyers. White-green tends to sometimes just struggles with flyers. Okay. Perfect. So we will play the Guild Globe, not let our opponent know that we had a land beforehand. Perfect. And now we have another Griffin. So it's a 5-turn clock now, but we're still in okay shape. And we have the Bulwark Giant to essentially hold the ground forever. We know the opponent has all lands in hand. Now we will trade it off, because we do have the Lazotep Reaver to make a new 1/1. I thought he would trade there, so making the 1/1 would have been better for us, but I guess we'll just play out our hand here, give ourselves some decent double block options. If he does attack with everything, we can just put the Giant here, double block Populace, or Evolution Sage. Yeah, the reason I attacked before playing Lazotep Reaver was because I assumed he would trade, or something of that nature, and then we would, because a 3/2 trades with a 3/3 just as well as it trades with a 2/2, so I would have changed an unfavorable trade into a favorable trade. Opponent still light on lands. Oh my god. Well then, if he has a land, I'm in horrible shape here. Oh my goodness. This card is a beating. Please don't have a land. Oh gosh. Thank goodness. Yeah, we're going to have to kill that before he does that again. Wow, he takes the hit. Wow, that was not a great spot. Now oh gosh. He will struggle with his attacks because if he attacks too much, I can kill him on the backswing. Oh, that's horrible for me. I need one of my removal spells. I have a lot of them. If I do draw a removal spell, I'm going to use it to kill this griffin. That was a great draw. Now I threaten lethal on the next turn, so we'll have to chump with the griffin. Oh, come on. That's just brutal. I have another Wanderer's Strike, and I have 3 copies of Spark Harvest. So I have 4 outs that just win me the game immediately. My board sweeper would be good, so that's 5 cards that would be good to draw. And then my opponent can't really attack with this flyer because if they do, they just die. That is actually a good draw as well. Gets me closer to my outs. So I'm going to just start sacrificing my small creatures. Yep, that's not great for me, but I can also do the block sacrifice trick, where I block and then sacrifice the creature so I absorb damage and draw cards. And this is where I need my board sweeper, I guess. Sacrifice this guy. And sacrifice this guy. Sacrifice this guy, so I'm just going to make a new one anyway. Well, this is great. Positively brilliant. Yeah, we're just going to get rid of the crocodile. The extra damage doesn't really mean anything to me. And here we are just looking for, I guess, like our board sweeper. Like we win the game if we draw the board sweeper, I think. Unfortunately, we've drawn every land in our deck. We have drawn 13 of our 17, so we only have 4 lands, so pretty decent odds of drawing some spells. Surprised there hasn't been an alpha strike yet. So if he uses Divine Arrow, I can double block this and this. Or I can double block this and this. So here I take 12. Yeah, I think I'm just going to block like this. Could I just catch a break? This is actually unreal. Oh, man. Oh, no attacks. We just have to hold back. He's going to just attack with everything now. We'll sacrifice 3 creatures, draw 3 more cards, looking for our board sweeper. Oh, man. This is not great, but we can draw, like, sacrifice our entire board here because we have 12 mana. Block there. Block there. And block here. This is 7, 10, 17. We're going to gain 3 life. Block there, I guess. That'll at least make him use his Divine Arrow. Here come the spells that I needed into the entire game. Yes! Oh, yes. Excellent. Haha! Sweet, sweet justice. Little does he know that I wasn't even, like, slow rolling that. I just drew it. I would have played that much sooner if I could have. Now we have all of our spells, so I think we're going to win this one. It did not look good there for a second, but, you know, such is the nature of having such a powerful card in your deck. That's why we're splashing it, of course. We just want to use this now to put him on a 2-turn clock. Oh, yes! I knew we could do it. Boom! The victory! Oh, that was not looking pretty, but, I mean, that was such a good time wipe. It was, like, the best time wipe of all time. You know what? Just for that time wipe, you can be my picture card. You can be my poster child. Dang, that was so good. I was digging for it. I knew I'd find it eventually. I had to find it that turn, though. I drew like 10 extra cards to look for it. Well, this hand is great. We have 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, a card to stabilize against aggro, removal spell in the form of Enforcer. And now we have color fixing. Perfect. So red deck probably more aggressive. That's generally just the trend. If you see them out, and it means they're oftentimes more aggressive, and red-black in particular in this format. I wonder what my opponent has. Like, they keep getting priority here. Maybe Jaya's greeting. But it's definitely good to be on the board first. I think our deck is very solid. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. And, yeah, things are going swimmingly. Yep, there's the Challenger Triumph. It's not Jaya's greeting, but it's similar. Okay, Tybalt. Okay, so we will get this Rising Populace down, and then we will attack the Tybalt. Because now if he trades, then we grow the Rising Populace. Boom. That's what I like to see, Rising Populace. Getting bigger. Growth is good. Attack with both. Okay, that's a little bit unfortunate. What could he possibly have if he's binning this 6-drop? Probably a land. Maybe he needs a land. That seems odd. So his deck does look more controlling now. I wish it was just a red-black deck, but it looks like more of a value-oriented deck. Grixis control or something, which makes Bulwark Giant serviceable as a big creature, but not as brutal as it would be against an aggro deck. Okay, there's a reach creature. We're going to kill that because a large part of our game plan revolves around killing him with flyers. Especially those whatever the 5-mana 3/4 is, and a 4/3 just deals with that very easily. He is stuck on land, so we want to get as much pressure into play first and then start attacking him. Especially if he goes all out on making this a little bit bigger, maybe. Wow, okay. Now the question is, do I want to maximize my menace? I think I want to put the counter on the flyer. Because this having 3 power is really nice. Also 4 toughness dodges a lot of removal, and getting a 3/5 flyer is a pretty big deal. Yikes. Max punished. View battlefield. Let's just take the cards they can cast. So let's take the Shriek Diver. Hopefully they go all out on a stealth mission, and we can just Wanderer Strike whatever they stealth mission. No blocks. We need to draw a removal spell here. Or not, you know. So they can just give this unblockable. We have to draw another removal spell to kill this. I don't think we've drawn a single Spark. No, we drew a Spark Harvest after we drew a bunch of cards last game, but we need to draw Spark Harvests and stuff. Oh, goody. Him copying stealth mission is GG if I don't find a removal spell here. Spark Harvest right off the top. Come on. Now, I don't think it's worth chumping because I need to find Spark Harvest or I lose anyway. So we're just going to rely on top decking what we need. We draw it exactly. Going to... This costs -2, so we have to hit this for 4. Shoot. Did we have to Spark Harvest the Ral? Maybe I had to... Yeah, I think I had to Spark Harvest Ral to have a chance here, but then I just lose to the stealth mission. So maybe I would have had to chump block last turn and... Yeah. Maybe they won't see the line. Even though them just literally casting stealth mission. Well, that is why you play out the games, folks. Because we were dead on board there, because he pings us when he casts a spell. That would have been 3 damage. Puts it on top. We top deck a blank. And now we wait, see what he top decked. Wow, this is why you never concede, folks. Oh my gosh, we got the W. I can't believe it. Unless I did my math wrong. Because this is getting for... Did we do the math wrong? Oh, we did do the math wrong. Oh my gosh, we did the math wrong. We can't kill him. He blocks. He can't block this one, but he can block the other 2, and then we die. No! We did everything right! Actually, we didn't do everything right, but we... No! That's so bad. Why did we have to draw 9 lands again? Oh! Wow. Well, we were close to winning. Well, sometimes all you need to do is draw spells and you just draw lands instead. Oh my gosh, that's so brutal. I can't believe that that is how that ended up going. He just he had to work his way up to casting that spell. If he'd just not drawn a land that turn, or if we had, I mean, to be fair, he should have won because he had lethal on board. But after he missed lethal, it feels like you should win, and then you just draw literal nothing for 2 more turns and lose the game. But it happens. Okay, we'll keep this. If we have to use a Guild Globe to cast Lazotep Reaver, that would be the dream. Yes. Found the swamp. Oh, he cast Kiora. Okay, let's do the most mana efficient play. Well, that's a catastrophe. Play this in Spark Reaver, I guess. I mean, Lazotep Reaver. Start to kill Kiora. Wow, this guy's really going off. Wow. Land me, yes. Die, Kiora. Eat. Spark. Rebel dog. We're not out of this yet. It's just quite poor. Our game plan is just to draw better cards and hope for the best. We're going to just use Spark Harvest next turn. I kind of wish we just drew Time Wipe early on in some of these games so I could show you how to like build a game plan around playing Spark Harvest, but I mean not Spark Harvest, Time Wipe. But unfortunately, we've only drawn that card in one of our games. Maybe we drew it in an earlier game where we were winning already. Oh, thanks. Jesus, this curve has been unreal. I hate it when they scry to the top. That's never a good sign for me. The hero of the story, the protagonist. I think animating Mobilized District would have been good for them there. Oh my gosh. This is just a not great spot. We have a nice block here, a nice double block here, a chump block here. Okay, so we want to double block this one. Single block there and chump there, I think. These are just the best blocks, I think. I think we're dead either way, though. Wait. Oh, one of these has trample? Oh, Crown Strangler has trample. Yeah, we were just dead then, I think. Okay. Oh, man. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. For some reason, I feel in best of one, I always get more sad when I lose because it's just like, oh man. A lot of games you just lose to mana screw. Ooh, here, exactly what I asked for. Perfect. So now we can like build a plan around having time wipe. We have all our colors for it and everything. Especially with the toll of the invasion. This is going to be good. So pretty much what you want to do is you want to put some creatures onto the board, but you want your opponent to like, I guess in some cases you want your opponent to just not play around it, but then in other cases you can like bait them into it by like putting your own creatures on the board. And with time wipe, it's particularly easy to do the creatures on the board trick because they're not ready for it. Oh my gosh. So they have one more land. It's a green source. Let's get rid of this Leyline Prowler, because that's going to facilitate it all for them. No blocks. I don't even know what their main colors are at this point. Well, that's not going to be allowed to live. So both of us are mana screwed. But they've got a heck of a lot more powerful cards in their hand. In all the colors. White, blue, red, and black. And of course they drew that one. That's just the classic option. I'm glad we took the Leyline Prowler. Okay, give me a land here. I just need to punish this guy before he hits all his colors. I'm one New Horizons away from just complete death. Oh gosh. Oh no. Jeez. Okay, so we're gonna hope to hit a land here. But, oh man, if he finds a plains, we're in bad shape. This is not looking good, folks. Land me. Yes. So we will use our Spark Harvest to kill this thing. No attack. I guess we can't really formulate a game plan around it. We'll just get through a point of damage here unless he decides not to block. We can't even cast our time wipe. Man, this is bad. Our opponent has sketchy mana to say the least. Huh. There's a ward scale. We don't want to trade off our guy for that, so let's just kill it and move on. Oh my gosh. We just need to draw a creature or something to chump it. That fits the bill. I have 6 mana. Okay. So we'll leave back all 3 of these to triple block that. But he has all his colors now. This is part of baiting him into the time wipe, I think. I don't know. I don't really... Kind of out of it, I guess. Oh my gosh. I thought he was going to use this to cast his Tolsimir, but I guess he's going to use it to cast his Ob-Nixilis' Cruelty. Jesus. So we have to pressure this Tamiyo. That's for sure. Jesus. So he has Ob-Nixilis' Cruelty. This is a catastrophe. Now that my opponent's hand is unlocked, I'm in horrible shape. Tamiyo is a real problem. Before the Tamiyo, we were okay. With the addition of this Tamiyo, we are in trouble. Pledge of Unity? That's not good for me. Okay. We need to get him to use his Tolson here before we play this board wipe. Because then he won't have any creatures to rebuild with. We'll have a little bit of a board to finish off this Tamiyo. So do it. Play the Tolsimir. Gosh, he found that Pledge of Unity. Yeah, there goes Tolsimir. Perfect. So now we will use our time wipe. So we'll block here. Use our time wipe. Play our creature. Try to kill this Tamiyo. So we're back to even, kind of. If they whiff for a turn, which is tricky. They know a lot about their deck, and Tamiyo's close to milling them out. They also can't cast a lot of their cards now again. Wow, they have a Saheeli too. Okay. We're going to get to hit this Tamiyo. They could mill out very easily here. Of course, we find another land. This has been a very land-heavy league. Is there like a trick or something? Like in best of one draft, you play like 10 lands or something? Like, because I feel like I draw all my lands a lot. I guess we are deep into the deck, so this is like half my lands, but it's still so sad. Oh my gosh. Jeez. If they keep plussing this Tamiyo, they just lose, so. No, it's Prismite. So we have the Prismite to block if he uses Pledge of Unity on his creature. Oh dear. Oh, this is an instant? Well, now I feel dumb. Jesus. Wow, I guess I should have read the card. Yes. Yes. Who said I only draw lands? This is great. I like this a lot. Thank you, deck. Yes! Whoo! We got the win. Time wipe comes in clutch again. Time wipe is disgusting. Oh my gosh. Yes. That was a good victory. That was a good one. Let's cut a land. I know it might seem results oriented, but like we also have a couple cantrip things, so it might just be the way we built our deck. It is a little bit too land heavy. So we have more whites than black, so we'll cut a swamp. And we will add a black card. paradoxically. Maybe we don't want to add a charity extractor. Yeah, it seems fine. We don't have any 4-drops, and it's a fine card for stalling on the ground while we win with our hawks in the air. Maybe the way the shuffler changes based on like drawing 2 opening hands makes this better. I'm not sure. Why are we playing as the diamond player? Not that I'm complaining. I mean, we're all just players here, but it's kind of annoying. So we're going to get this Guild Globe and the Iron Bully and Spark Reaper and Toll of the Invasion. I wonder if this player judges me because they know I'm in Gold 4. It's all about how much you play in these limited things. Because I don't usually play ranked ones. I just wanted to try it out to see what people thought of it on the channel. Reminder to leave a comment below if you do have a thing with whether you prefer ranked or non-ranked. I'm going to start with Toll just in case they have a good 4-drop or something. Yeah, Yang Wengu's qualifies, I think. That would have been quite bad for me. Their deck looks good. No attacks. They don't have any hard removal. So this Enforcer Griffin should do good work. Yeah, he whiffed. That was not a great turn for him. He's probably going to use Callous Dismissal and Contentious Plan now. Oh, a Submersible. Let's just kill his potential value engine. And he drew a card. Gotta be kidding me. Oh my gosh, he drew a replacement copy? That's kind of dumb. And we can't really attack because then he just bounces this. And we have to chump block with our guy instead of... Jeez. Come on! You've got to be kidding me! You have got to be kidding me! What? That is unreal. That's actually so stupid. What? Every single time I kill it, it just comes back? Wow. This is a joke. This is a cruel, twisted joke. I'm going to put the counter on itself because it's got a decent likelihood of being bounced. Okay, his hit rates are astonishing with these Grizzlies. He's hit 3 out of 4 times. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ludicrous. Jesus. And he drew a Crawl Stinger. When does this guy ever draw lands? Is that a thing that happens to this particular player? Jeez. Oh, great. Our best card. Good thing we can sacrifice it. These Grizzlies were so good. I think we have to find boards. We won't have time to replay this because he's gonna hit me for too much damage here. Yeah, I'm taking 6. I don't know. It feels like I'm just gonna end up chumping this thing if I don't find a removal spell. And boom. Gaining that life. Oh no, oops. I'm really not in it right now. I'm kind of not focused at all. Jeez, that was a bad attack. Okay. Yeah, best of 1 gameplay is in draft is just too much for me. Just wrecks me mentally. 5, 7, 9. Okay, no blocks. Even if I draw a time wipe, I'm in bad shape here. Because he just uses Arlen to get back ahead on board. He has a silent submersible. I think those Vivian Grizzlies kind of tilted me off in a way. Well, now this thing can tap down his 5/6 at least. So that's a plus. We need to play the land so we can tap down and use it twice. Make another wolf, buddy. Well, okay, we're looking for time wipe, that's for sure. Now that he's made another wolf, we can actually get him. Time wipe? Come on. Cruelty, sure. That'll be useful once we find our time wipe. Time wipe? No, we need time wipe. So we have 9, 10 lands. Time wipe? Unfortunately, we can't draw a time wipe now because we're out of lands. Aw. Let's just see what we would have found. Rats. Little did our opponent know that they were dangerously close to dying. I mean, if we had a time wipe in our top 30 cards, we would have won that game. So, you know, such is life. Yeah, that is going to do it for this video. If you made it all the way to the end, say hashtag GrizzlyOP in the comment section down below, because that last game was kind of a funny Grizzly OP. It's not actually OP. It just was kind of funny that game. Or alternately, or you can do both. Type hashtag time wipe victory, because we got a couple of sweet victories because of time wipe that were pretty improbable. So that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think of ranked drafts of War of the Spark. I think I prefer best of 3 better, because I think I just generally do better in that type of format. But let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys next time.